Good morning. Good morning. My apologies. I forgot I had a thumbnail up. Sorry about that. So hopefully somebody's in the in the distance. Somebody's in the distance. From a distance. From a distance. I'm trying to put the banner up. I don't know how to do this from my phone. God is watching us. God, oh, there it is. God is watching us. God is watching us. Sorry, guys. Life happens. Nothing bad. I just had to. We have to go down to the rental, move furniture. I have to make sure the animals were good to go, which they are. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I had to. I had to wash the water, make sure they're topped up, refilled their food dish outside, plus the food dish that I actually use to give their food from, if that makes sense. I have a 5 gallon bucket. I gotta mix it. Stuff happens. So I'm heading over there, well, to go get the rental truck because there's some guys that are gonna help us lift this stuff, which is heavy, and I cannot lift it. So I was gonna not go live, and I'm like, oh shoot, I have a thumbnail up. But let's just chit chat. Sorry, the camera probably won't be on because I'm all over the place, and I'm gonna be driving. I'll just make sure I bring my charger. So I was looking for my charger, and just gardening ain't easy, life ain't easy. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do and don't think about how hard it's gonna be, how long it's gonna take, how you're gonna get it done. Because if you think about that sometimes, you won't even start. Trust and believe. You will not start. I hope everyone had a great week. Good morning, Dimu. Good morning, Renaissance. Virginia, Psalms, Unbiased. I don't know if they're still here. Odoms, because I was just, yeah. But the weather's been hot, and then it's been raining every night. I know when it rains, it makes it more humid. It's annoying, but I'm thanking God because I did not have to water my garden, and that would have been another task to do. And sometimes, for me, almost all the time, I don't really feel like arguing. What am I saying? I don't feel like watering and having to fight with the mosquitoes and lift water. My elbows are getting better, whatever inflammation is getting better, but sometimes it gets re-triggered, so I have to be careful. Good morning, Psalms. Okay, you're still there. So yeah, so I'm thankful for the rain. Thankful for the rain. Um, Trying to find ways to be appreciative, regardless of what's going on, and not be complaining and saying, "Oh, why is you know?" It could be worse, right? There's people who have fires burning, their houses are burning down, and all we're complaining about. Good morning, Gigi. All we're complaining about is, oh, it's it's humid, it's raining. Well, you got a house, don't you? Ain't burning down. You didn't get evacuated for the. Some people got evacuated. I think even New Brunswick, California, because the fires be burning. So they would love to have some rain. So let's try to be mindful of what words come out of our mouth. Let me put the camera in the other direction so you can see what I'm doing at least. Hold on. Let's be mindful of what words are coming out of our mouth. We don't need to be complaining and just being um, Debbie Downers or whatever you want to call it. Hold on. You don't need to see me. You need to see what I'm doing. Camera. Is this the right camera? No, it's not still me. Is that okay? That's the one. Make sure the girls are okay before I leave. So let's just be my that stupid cabbage, that dirty stinking cabbage lot. Okay, let me I'm just gonna leave the hose out. I don't even want to clean it up. I put soap in that water. Don't worry, no mosquitoes. So they got enough food. I topped up their water. I put DE. I'm gonna lock up the. I'm gonna lock them up before I go. Hey guys, have a good day, ladies. See you later. See you later. Gotta lock them up because you can't trust these people when you're not here. Much bad mind people. Anyways, let's be more mindful of what we're saying. Gotta mow my lawn. Yep, but it's gonna get done. As soon as we get a dry enough day where I can run the mower, I will do it. But we're not gonna complain. Yeah, I think I cut out. I know it's too far. Let me put the egg. This is another egg. Let me put it in my pocket. Someone's calling me. Okay, sorry, boys. That's me. Hey, Marlene. Hey, Perfection Baking. That was me because I'm too far from the Wi-Fi. Give me a second. Let me reply to this text message. Viewing now on live on my phone. Okay. So let us be thankful in all things. Mark is red. How do I get back to? Okay, there you guys are. All right, so they're locked up. The door is locked. They got food. They got water. Make sure their radio is on. But it's very humid today. But it's not hot. I know some people prefer. One second, we put the radio on for them. Okay, I don't want any copyright strikes, so I keep the radio on for them so they have some company. And I'm heading on the road now. But gardening right now, I don't have any complaints, but just observations. So depending on your zone and your climate, and you guys can chime in the chat. I'm not gonna really be posting, but I'll try to read the comments once I stop driving. I think once we pick up the truck, I'll be a passenger at that point, I think. And there's snails. I'm having a lot of snails. Not a lot, but I am having snails. And they're getting under the mesh coverings. Now, part of that is there's been a lot of rain, a lot of dampness. I haven't had a problem before, so I really didn't preempt it. But I purchased some snail traps yesterday at this warehouse sale that happened to have some natural products. It's similar to what you use for the fly traps. For those of you who have chickens or livestock, there's what you call it, those fly bags or those bottles that you put this powder in. It smells very stinky, but it attracts the flies. Probably something similar to that, or a beer. And that's what I've been doing lately. Well, not lately. I'm going to do that now. The snails are not overtaking, so I don't want to put anything, on it. That's chemical. Okay, so she says wait at the house, and then okay, this is really. One second. Anyways, I'm getting told off. Oops, because I'm late, but not really late. But anyways, it's what it is. Might be live cut short, so she's gonna get the fan, and I'm gonna wait for her somewhere else. All right, so back to the conversation at hand. Let me drop the link. Some of y'all can come up if you need to share something. Stream info. How do I do? Oh, guess. I'm gonna drop the link before I forget, and put it in the chat so that somebody can come up in the meantime before I get told off. And how do I type in the chat now? It's been a while. Oh, okay, post a comment. Figured it out. It's different on your phone. Okay, there we go. So that's what I've been doing. And I'm going to try that. I'm going to put some eggshells around because I do have eggshells and see if that would help with the snails. But it's nothing really, really bad. But I just don't want to have to fight with them for my bok choy and the cabbages. The potato bugs now, what we call potato bugs, you call roly polies, are definitely a problem. Maybe too early. And even the last cannabis, which we found popping up, we transplanted it from this weird spot into a pot and it's being chewed down. I noticed it this morning, so I removed the potato bug and I put some powder around the plant to protect it. And when I come back, we'll see what happens. I'm probably going to check on it now just to make sure because it's yeah, it's problematic. I don't want to have to kill the potato bugs or get rid of them because they do help. So I was told they help with composting, but they're becoming a problem. And a lot of the plants are going to seed. I don't know why, because it's been humid, but I guess the fluctuation in temperature, you guys tell me if you have a similar issue. It's affecting some of the plants, and the potting mix has been very good except for keeping hydrated. They dry out in 24 hours, and you have to be constantly watering them. Otherwise, they become hydrophobic and they don't hold water at all. So I'm not really impressed with the results with the potting mix. So you definitely have to mix your potting mix with some kind of compost. Otherwise, you're not going to get good results. You're not. I've experienced that for the herb garden challenge. The plants are getting fertilization, but the frequency of me watering has been absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if anybody has a similar experience, but you definitely have to be mindful when you're mixing your containers because you're going to actually give yourself a lot more work having to water them just because they just simply don't hold the water. And you're watering them. I'm using rainwater, but it's still a problem. I'm going to head into the car and start driving, so I'll just keep talking. If you hear any background noise, that's why. If I cut out, let me know in the chat. I'm on the off the Wi-Fi now. So it's big. It's a lot more work. So people who don't have an irrigation system, it's becoming a lot more work because of the type of soil that you're using. So next time when I do those little containers, I'm gonna have to definitely mix in some manure and some compost just so they can hold some more moisture. I'm gonna have to. I don't think pine shavings on top are going to help, to be honest, because it could, but I don't think it really would help that much in those small size of containers. The soil itself should be functioning the way that I'm expecting it to. It doesn't make sense me having all these challenges that I'm participating in, and I'm doing 3 times the work just watering because the soil is not holding the moisture. It's not appropriate for the money we're paying for bags of potting mix that have on the bag moisture control and all these different claims that they're making. If it's moisture control soil, where's the moisture? Some of these bags are $15 plus a bag. So I'm not really impressed with this. And this is what shows you, even new gardeners, because you go to the store and then people watch you buying soil and they're like, oh, is that good soil? Is that good soil? And it's like, it's weird that you don't want to tell them the truth. Like, no, none of it's good soil. You have to amend the soil yourself, even though you're purchasing it, because it's not going to perform the way you're expecting. You're not going to get magic results because you bought the most expensive soil. And I really don't understand where this ideology is coming from. They make these assumptions and they're like, okay, this is the best soil. And I'm like, I didn't really have time to speak to the lady that particular day because I had things to do. But I'm like, you have to make the soil what you want it to be. You take the soil, you can take the crappiest of soils, and if you're going to mix it with, your leaf compost, your manure, sheep manure, I have chicken manure, and you're going to do all that yourself, mixing it to amend it. It doesn't matter what soil you buy. If you want more nutrients in the soil, obviously buy a better quality, but it's not giving you a guarantee. It's not giving you a guarantee. And people think you can just go to the store and buy something and it's going to work for you. How can it work for you? Seriously. Everybody here on the line right now, plus people who, watch the replays, live in different zones and different climates. All of us are different. How does a one manufacturer make one standalone type of soil and it's going to work for all of us? And we're all in different climates, different zones, different soil conditions, different insects and bug pressure. And on top of that, they don't know what soil we have in our natural environment that we're trying to mix it with to enhance it. So they are only catering from just, I'm not going deep into it, but they're catering to container gardeners, fine. But even in a container, we're in different climates, different zones, different things. So you can't it's not a one size fits all. Depending on the type of container that you're using, that's going to also affect your moisture levels. If you have a reservoir at the bottom of your pot, that's also going to affect your moisture. And I have a small reservoir and it's still dry. So there needs to be some effort on our part as gardeners, whether you're new or not, to amend your soil. You cannot just get a one size fits all. You can use a potting mix, but you're going to have to add some other things to it. And depending on what you're growing and the needs of that said plant, and that's going to be dictated by also your grow zone. What things can you grow at this time of year that are going to actually be productive? That will also dictate how much effort you're going to put into your soil. Lettuce doesn't need too much effort as far as I have experienced. Lettuce and spinach are pretty easy breezy. When you're going into more heavy feeding plants, your cabbages, your brassicas that really need that substance. Good morning, G Mama. So blessed. I'm driving, so I'm not watching the chat. I'm just chitter chattering. Those things are going to assist you with having a better plant. When the plant has what it needs, it's going to be healthier. When it's healthier, then it's going to be more naturally pest resistant. And that's where we need to kind of go back to the fundamentals in gardening and fundamentals in life. Sometimes we're looking for a one size quick fix fits all. And that's not what it's about. No matter how you slice it, you have to go back to your soil. Your soil health is going to give you the results that you're trying to achieve. The bug pressure is not going to be stopped by spraying and powdering. You might need to use sprays from time to time and DE and BT from time to time. Yes, but if your soil is healthy and your plant is healthy, it will have its own natural bug resistance. It can resist the pressures of the bugs. And then sometimes as a gardener, you use your common sense and say, okay, I have one plant that's really, under bug attack. You might leave that there as a decoy to prevent them from finding your other plant. So it's not a loss. It's just you got to win some, you lose some. But you still have to put the effort into your soil. There's no going around it. There's no avoiding it. If your soil is healthy, your plant will be healthy and you will have less work to do. I'm waiting here for her to come back. Less work to do for preventing that bug pressure. Spacing your plants has pros and cons, depends on how much space you have to begin with. You may say, I don't give a crap. I'm going to cram together all my plants as close together as possible. That's just the way it is. And because I want to get as much food as possible, on the plants and potentially less bug pressure in terms of you'll be able to physically see if there's something wrong. There's more space. You're going to notice things. You're also going to have more airflow, and that would help with the powdery mildew. So instead of us trying to find products that are going to solve all of our problems, we have to go back to the fundamentals. Okay, so I pulled over, I stopped now. Let me just read the chat and see what I missed. Scroll back up. So Perfection Baking saying, make your own moisture control soil, add coconut coir. And that's I think that's very cheap as well. I think they're at the dollar store. I know G Mama in the past has said just be careful because some things have like salt or a certain pH. So just be mindful. Don't ask me what she said, but she knows. Hey, G Mama. Good morning, so blessed. Good morning, G Mama to the chat. Good morning, Lashes. Um, Potting mix doesn't have fertilizer. Potting soil includes fertilizer. Read the ingredients on the bags you buy. Okay, I call everything potting mix. So you see, potting mix and potting soil are different. But I buy the one with the fertilizer for the most part because you want something that's going to feed it and have less work to do until you start feeding it with your with my sea kelp. And did I miss anything? I don't know if the weather's working, Dmood, the if this Nightbot thing. I think most people's kind of shut down. I have to go back in to reset it. But yeah, you have to get the soil right. Now, even though I have container gardens, man, I'm sweating like a piglet. Piglets don't sweat. Um, you have to make sure you have good microbiome in your soil. I have worms, I have potato bugs, too many potato bugs actually, and that's actually damaging some of my plants. The solution for me is basically don't transplant the plants until they're of a particular size. At least so that the true leaves and then another set of leaves and they're high enough that they won't be touching the ground. Once those leaves touch the ground, that's it. They'll be chomping. And once they get a taste for that plant, even if you cut off the lower leaves, I saw that they keep climbing up and chomping down the plant. So I have two more backups for that container. So I'm going to transplant that kohlrabi that died and put a new one in there. That's the last one I have, and see if that makes a difference. Just for you know, seeing what happens. The There's some kind of fungus on the cabbage. I'm having a hard time with red cabbage. No other cabbage except for the red one is constantly causing me problems. They're hard to germinate for some reason. They're leggy. There's always some kind of problem growing. When you transplant them, they pick up and they do well. But now I'm finding some kind of fungus because the center of the cabbage that would form the head, nothing's happening in some kind of weird coloration. I don't think I'm going to get a cabbage. I'm just going to get like leaves, like, collard green leaves kind of thing. I'm not going to get a cabbage head. Something attacked it. It's not the first time I've seen this. Sometimes it's in the bed that you've planted in. So maybe that bed, I've used it before, needs some kind of sterilization. The bigger the roots when transplanting, the bigger the plant shock. Yeah. So there's a perfect timing to transplant. Exactly. You can't wait too long because they're going to go into stress and that's going to attract pests. But if you do it too early, those bugs in the soil are going to chomp down your plant. And the slugs have been having a field day because they've been hiding away in certain places in the containers. Even though I covered them, they probably were already in there or they're sneaking in somehow. So I'm going to have to next year have things spaced out a bit more. I've gotten good results with my strawberry bed. The only problem is I left again today, didn't harvest. So probably tomorrow or tonight when I come back, it's going to be a lot of old strawberries that I'll have to just give to the chickens. There's not um there's not anything else I can do. You have to harvest your food. If you're not harvesting them daily, you're going to have a problem. So that's pretty much what's going on. So the weather's been an issue for everybody. This heat wave and then the rain, it's making it very humid. The humidity is really not going to be good for the powdery mildew. I'm probably gonna have an issue with the powdery mildew. So I'm gonna keep my eyes open. For tomatoes, I'm gonna cut off any excessive limbs that I don't need once I start seeing what's flowering. And I don't really cut down my tomato plants and prune them down. I don't really do that unless I need to. But if I see some discoloration, I went in and cut out some of the limbs yesterday just to clean it up. Um, Mama saying spraying cayenne, onion, garlic, milk concoctions keep pest pressures under control. Cheap and effective. That's exactly what you need to be doing. And those sprayers that you buy from the store, those sprayers, those are fantastic. You make the mix once and you just, spray your plants. And I guess you spray it as a foliar spray, G Mama. So this is simple things that you have. And some of those same ingredients, the cayenne, onion, and garlic, will also keep the larger pests, raccoons and skunks away. A lot of people, I got a message from a lady who had a raccoon problem before, and she had to pay thousands of dollars to get them out of her roof after they finished, nursing their young ones. Because there's a law here. They have more rights than people. Go figure. Um, and they were sleeping. Two raccoons were sleeping on another lady's back patio. So I said to her back in a message, I'm like, don't let them sleep there. I'm not saying go out and fight them, but get one of those blowhorns or something, bang a pot, and let them get up and leave. Don't let them get comfortable sleeping on your cushions out there because they're gonna keep coming back. So I sent her the mole deterrents and pepper spray and what I use. Told her on Amazon she could buy it or make it herself. I told her I put a radio on and I leave it on, and that kind of deters them from coming back. So I haven't really had any raccoons that I've really seen on the back patio since I've gotten the girls. So hopefully that stays that way, and we will soon find out. But the same lady has problems again. She said with raccoons, like something came back. Marigold. Hold on, what did I miss? Marigold plants, pepper. I have marigolds. They're not doing too well either. They're not going very big like before. Um, Peppermint plants and basil plants keep pest pressure down. Yes, I do have a lot of herbs. It does help, but some people may think it's a miracle worker. It may not be as miraculous as you think. So just be mindful. It might not be as but the marigolds, yes. And I like to have some of my herbs in pots so that if I see something weird happening, I just move the basil around, I move the mint around, the rosemary, I kind of move it around, and that kind of shakes things up. When you plant everything in the ground, you don't have that option. But intercropping, onions, shallots, scallions, intercropping. I know some of us like to have everything in the same spot and have everything nice and pretty looking, but sometimes you need to have onions in multiple spots in your garden. You can't just have it in one spot. Otherwise, you're going to it's just going to be predictable. Also, urine keeps larger pests away. Exactly. People think we're joking. Have people pee in your yard or capture your pee in a cup and pour it around. You need to have that higher predator smell so that they don't keep coming around. And especially when you have chickens, you don't want them coming around. Now, people's dogs are a different thing. There's a lot of people who are having issues and have had issues with people's dogs coming on their property and basically, taking on all their animals. Sometimes I know one lady I watched, she almost lost a sheep. She went to go get her pew pew, and by the time she came back, the dog was gone. It wasn't far, but uh, those of you who are in those kind of states, you should have it with you when you're gardening. Because when these dogs and these come for your sheep and your goats, that's a very expensive thing, and you don't know who to confront, and that animal's gone. You're not going to get it replaced. You got to buy another one. That's a loss. I have herbs pots that I rotate to keep pests. Yeah, you got to keep them confused. You got to move the herbs around. Now, I'm finding some of my herbs are not performing the same. So I have two pots of cinnamon basil. One pot is huge, the other one is tiny. Both transplanted at the exact same time, but both performing differently in two different pots. One is ready to prune down, one is not even showing out. And I have one particular mint, a brand new mint that I purchased from the nursery. That is what you call it? It's ginger mint. Yeah, ginger mint. First time I bought it. I'm already seeing like I thought it would seed from the top. Maybe I haven't seen mint seed in a long time. I'm confused. But I'm seeing seeds and like like almost like little puff balls along the stem of the ginger mint. So I think it's seeding, so I need to prune it back. I don't want seeds all over the place. but the ginger mint is doing something different than what I have in the other three mints. It's weird. So not everything's going to perform the same way. Pinch those herbs and they'll show out. Yeah, I think it's time for them to get a little hair, a little pruning. Um, I'm what I'm doing this year also is harvesting more frequently and drying them, having a jar. So for instance, right now I have Thai basil and I have what's the other one I have? I can't remember. Thai basil, oh, and catnip. So some of them's dried and I have it in a jar. Each time I harvest and dry it, I add it to that same jar until the jar is full at the end of the season. If it's full, then I'll start another jar. And that will be my 2024 catnip, Thai basil, and that's going to go along to the oregano and all of them. And just have them in one big jar. And that's going to be my stash for tea leaves. And I'm going to use that to make infusions, oil infusions, alcohol infusions, and start making my own. I pay for oregano oil in the dropper. And I'm like, I don't have to pay for it anymore. I can just make it myself. And I can get high quality olive oil or whatever oil I want. And that's what you do. Yes, frequent harvesting makes them bush up. That's what you need to. So people like to grow things, but they're not really good at the harvesting part. I'm just as guilty. Hey, your weekend gardener. I'm just as guilty as that. You have to harvest. You have to make time to harvest, wash them, dry them properly, and you can put them in those mesh bags and dry them properly so that they're already drying, and then you can, go on to your chores, and then you go on to the next day harvesting again. Have a plan in place to harvest and preserve so that you're not wasting your efforts gardening. That was my problem. I wasn't really using my harvest to its full potential. I use them fresh, but I don't need to use my tea leaves fresh. I can just dry them and keep it moving. I don't have a long enough growing season to really benefit from eating everything fresh. I need to start preserving from as soon as I'm harvesting, how am I preserving this? Because I need to have enough for the winter. Let me see here. I'm getting overrun by deer. I had a large one in the yard yesterday. It came up behind me, scared the crap out of me. Lesson learned. Earbuds out in the yards. Oh yeah, stay alert. I play a radio and I play like a Bluetooth speaker. I don't want nothing in my ear because even people, you don't know who's gonna come up behind you. You don't know. So yeah, and those I saw. I don't know if you saw the video. I think it was Carbon Q's Instagram. Somebody came out the house and was screaming at this deer, and then the smallest of her dogs, she has a few dogs, went to go fight the deer. She go and lick the deer with a bag, and then the deer with the antlers coming to go, Miss the people them, and she's screaming the whole time. You're in their territory. I don't know what you think you're doing out there when you look up bad for go lick down deer with antlers. You must be mad. Then her father or her husband or somebody older gentleman was trying to, push the deer back and nearly got knocked over. Don't play with deer. Deer are not your friend. And when they have a young one, they're very aggressive. Very aggressive. Yeah, be careful. Very good morning, Bud Files. But yeah, try to get your harvest. I see a lot. I don't know. Like I'm only in here in my Ontario area, but I've been going around seeing a lot of dehydrators on sale. I'm seeing those food savers on sale at clearance warehouses. I might get a food saver to be honest. And they have the bags on sale for it as well, so you can, harvest a lot of different things and freeze them. As those of you who are harvesting your own meat, you can get the bags and the the thing. You can clean your meat, season it up, and then put them in the bags already done. All you got to do is take it out and put her in the oven when it's finished. I have fanny pack with speakers. Noise freaks out a lot of pests. Oh yeah, the simplest things seem to be working. And I have to burn a torch when I go outside because the mosquitoes. Like since it's so humid, I have a lot of issues with mosquitoes, and I'm literally fighting them off tooth and nail because they're looking at my meaty arms and my meaty legs and like, oh, she looks like a good one. We can get a lot from her. Okay, freeze. Okay, food saver is great. No freezer burn, and that's very important. That's a very good point, Happy Mac. And good morning to you. Freezer burn can ruin a lot of your produce and your meat. So you got to spend the time and sometimes the money for the bags to keep them from getting freezer burn. I took out a sauce out the freezer, vegetable pasta sauce out of one of those locked glass containers. And when I check the date, it says August 2021. I'm pretty sure it's fine, but I'll talk about it next week. I'm going to use it this week to make some vegetable pasta. But I'm sure it's fine. If you store things properly, you can get a couple of years. Now, mind you, I would have ate that already had I remembered it was there. But sometimes things end up on top of things and then you don't remember it. But I label everything that I put in the freezer with a date and what the item is because sometimes you don't recognize it to make sure and you have it's better for you. You're not wasting. Food is too expensive to buy, never mind you're raising your own. And then to have it get freezer burn? No, 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 no. I gotta learn how to freeze my greens correctly. They turn out horrible. Mine don't turn out that great either. I freeze them raw. Some people blanch them. I'm like, I don't want to take out the nutrients, so I don't know. So I'm gonna start canning them. I'm gonna start canning my greens. That's still gonna kill the enzymes, but hey, I gotta have more food for the long run. That's what I'm working on. Um, but some people blanch them and then freeze them. Some people just, freeze them raw. Some people, I don't know what they do. I'm watching a lot of homesteaders and how they freeze stuff. They cut them up in smaller pieces and freeze them and use them for stews and soups. I haven't heard any of them complain. They think it's not freezer burn, it's working. And they cook out their freezer for the whole year. Bell peppers I freeze. I know I can freeze scallions, no problem. I actually dried them last year and they're in a jar as an onion powder. So I'm going to be using that as my onion powder. I'm trying to stop buying organic seasonings because, as you know, they're probably not organic, and they're full of all kind of anti-caking and other items in there, as well as fillers. So you have to be mindful when you're buying these things. So if you can grow it yourself and grind it up yourself, I would suggest doing that. A dehydrator is not that expensive right now. It seems to be like everywhere you look, it seems to be there at a very reasonable price, and the food savers as well. So I'm going to be investing in a food saver because we can all as a family use it. We already have the pressure canner, we have the dehydrator. So this year it's just about preserving as much as we can. Um, Good morning. Be listening to tips while doing laundry, dishes, cleaning because this is what. Yeah, exactly. Day off is full of work. Last season, no peppers. This season, I have a variety of fruiting. I have a few flowering, but I don't think I'm going to get that many peppers. So I'm probably going to have to buy some from the farmer's market, which is fine, and then preserve those. And I know I can get ample tomatoes from them as well. And I'm going to can some more pasta sauce. And you don't have to can it perfectly like everybody else does. You can like if you want to just can it with some salt and pepper and no seasonings, and then when you take them out the can and you're gonna like warm it up, then you can cook down some Italian seasonings and some zucchini and some ground beef at that point, and then add the sauce to it. You don't have to if you don't have the time. Sometimes we put pressure on ourselves. Oh, we got to do it like so and so did it and fall. No, you can do it the lazy way, just the basic, stewed tomatoes, and then when you warm it up, you're gonna cook it. Prepping doesn't have to be, perfect every single time. Sometimes you just got to get her done, and just get her done, and that way you can warm it up with some freshly cooked meat, and you can add your vegetables to it. You can add some more sauce to it. You can do whatever you want to it. At least the food is not being wasted. Because tomatoes, my indoor tomatoes are doing very well. They can actually ripen on the vine because they're inside. I have two bok choys that were dying, but I left them in there because I was using the light to shine on the tomatoes, and that's what's happening. Uh-oh, the person's coming back. She's probably gonna tell me off. If I go on mute, that's why I'm being told off. I thought we are picking up the truck already. I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, well, yeah. So the bok choy, I use a different fertilizer in there because the one that came with the unit is running out. So I use like a powdered one, diluted it. It had like 20, maybe 10, 10, 10, or 20, 10, 10, something a little higher than what came with the unit. And the bok choys are doing so much better. They're coming back to life. They are literally ready to be cut and eaten. So sometimes, note to self, I'm jumping from topic to topic. Um, from topic to topic. I'm right here. I'm right here. You said, where are you? I'm right here. Um, top, but you have to sometimes change the fertilizer that you're using. Maybe what came with the unit is not strong enough for all type of plants. 1 second. I'm gonna press mute. She's gonna ask me something. I'm still here, guys. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna get back in my car. We're gonna take my car to find a truck. We can find a truck. So sorry about that, guys. So, okay, let me keep up with the. Okay, I'm being told off again. So get my P's and my Q's. Uh, only the rest. One of my tomatoes is growing. The rest gave up the ghost. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Being told off. That's, that's it. The tomatoes have to have a lot of feeding. My soil was amended, but they're still requiring a lot of feeding. So that's why I'm glad it's raining, because that's giving me the water that it needs. So all I have to do is focus on giving it some feed more often than last year. That's for sure. Let's see what else is going on with greens. So Demon's saying with greens, he freezes them. Don't dry. Sorry, greens freeze them dry. Don't get it wet. Wash it when you defrost and use. That's what works for me. Okay, so you She said good morning to you, and I had the same problem with peppers last year. This year, so far, it looks okay. Yeah, the peppers are doing a little weird, and my hot peppers, my cayenne peppers, are doing okay. The yellow Peruvian peppers that were started indoors and should be like living its best life, I haven't seen one blossom on it. And my Scotch bonnet, good luck with those two. I don't know what's happening. They're not. They're finally kind of shooting up a bit, but they're way behind, and they should be at the same pace as the cayenne peppers. I sowed more seeds than usual to get something to grow. I don't know what's going on with the peppers. I don't know if it's a seed issue, if it's a variety issue. I don't know what's going on. And the okra, I reseeded the red okra. They were not germinating the second batch, except for one. I took the trays outside in the hot sun and the rain, and I got two more to germinate. The last one is still there. This is the longest I've seen okra to germinate. Now, mind you, I did not put on the heat mat indoors, but with all the humidity in the dome, I thought that would have been enough, but I guess not. Uh, that's what's going on with the okra. So hopefully there's enough time for me to get a good harvest of the red okra so I can get the seeds, and maybe those seeds will germinate a little easier next year. And the thing that I know, it's not the seed problem, but the seeds are just hard to germinate. The first batch of seeds, I soaked them and then I planted them, and they still took a long time to germinate, almost 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks. And the ones I did now have been at least 3 weeks to germinate. So I don't know what's going on with these okra seeds. Hey, good morning, Odom. Yes, my peppers are on the struggle bus. I don't know what's going to happen this year, guys. And I don't know what's going to happen with the prices of bell peppers because that's a very popular thing. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Um, Go to the farmer's market and freeze them because when you have to buy them fresh every time, it's very expensive. And why are bell peppers different prices? It's all the same pepper, whether it's green, yellow, or orange. It's just the level of ripeness before they harvested them. Why are they so expensive? The yellow and the orange ones and the red ones and the green ones are so cheap. Make it make sense. But the peppers, the hot peppers are on the struggle bus. And I don't know who's growing eggplant in the chat. My eggplant is not the plant itself. The leaves are falling off. I don't see any flowering happening yet. They were started inside very early. I know we had that late spring cold front that came in and they didn't like it, but they really should be further ahead than they are. I don't see anything happening with the eggplants. And I made sure that this year I only planted one type of eggplant. I didn't do like the three like last year. I did the Black Beauty, Sicilian, and the Casper. I didn't do any of those, just the Black Beauty, and I'm not getting any um, eggplant just yet. And that's why I want to grow them to have like more plant-based meals. I don't know what's happening, guys, but I'm gonna have to next year have something to protect the hot plants in some kind of greenhouse pop-up structure so that overnight they don't get the frost and the chill, and also extend the growing season into the fall because I don't think it's going to start flowering till late, and I don't want to lose the potential harvest. So I don't know if anyone else is having any problems. My fig trees now are blossom. They're doing very well. I don't see any fruit on them though. Now I did cut off cuttings off of the brown turkey fig. I have to actually take a picture. I still forget to take a picture of it because it's the one I don't like. They gave me a start that's horizontal. It's not like growing upwards to the sky. So there's no really spot in the garden you can put a tree like that because it's always just when you're walking by it, you're knocking off stems. So I knocked off one by accident. I cut off two more, so I planted three. All of them are doing well. Now two of them look like they're dying. When I move some of the soil off of the surface, I see a bud underneath the soil surface. So although the top looks dead, it definitely is rooting if there's a bud underneath the soil. So Odom, you could tell me because you're a fig person that even though it looks dead on top of the soil, just let the start stay in the cup because it's probably going to grow to something. The third one looks dead all around, but I'm leaving it in there because I think the roots are going to be doing something. And the third one is having leaves growing. It looks fantastic. So I'm probably going to tell me if this is right or wrong, Odom, or doesn't matter. I was gonna cut off some of the other varieties of figs that I have and do some starts as well, because some of them are having some new offshoots that are in the not in the most ideal location, and it's gonna overcrowd the plant. So I'm thinking of cutting off some more branches and making some starts for the other varieties. But stake it up, yes, keep it moist. Okay, I yeah, I'm surprised. I was gonna throw it out, but when I saw, I'm like, oh, there's a bud underneath the soil. Okay, let me leave it and see what happens. Wow, this whole place is all built up, man. I'm passing by the racetrack. It's totally built up and different. So I'm just saying my eggplants, okra, and peppers are lagging behind this year too. Stay moist. Anything in the center, take it out. Okay, thanks for that. Anything in the center. I'm gonna post a picture and then I'll tag you so that you can just confirm what center means, because I know there's some of them are crisscrossing in the center. So I think I'll just cut off those smaller limbs. If I can get each, I have 4 fig trees, 4 varieties. If I can get 3 more of each of those trees, that would really get a food forest established, and then I can start after giving away some of these trees to even my parents' garden, because they can keep some in containers and get some more fruit. That their property, there's a squirrel nest in one of the trees. They didn't notice it till now, and now we have to figure out how to get rid of them because we don't want squirrels actually living in the apple tree. They've gone too far. The plum tree is doing well that the person gave me. I'm not going to get fruit this year. It's just establishing itself and getting leaves and stems. So that is not a problem. I don't mind not getting fruit. The apple tree, I moved it up top, and the pear tree into the top of the garden. So hopefully that direct sun is not going to really damage it. It should be okay because I need to have more room at the bottom to have more space to move around. So I'm going to get some covers for those trees because the birds, and I saw about 20 birds up top through the window. I don't know what they were doing up there, but they better not be eating off my pecking at my fruit. I have to go check it when I go back today, and I have to check the blueberry bushes. I uncovered them and I pruned them back. There's some dead limbs, and there's no blueberries on them that I can see, so I'm going to cover them back today to make sure that they'll be okay. Um, some people were talking about covering and not covering. If you have enough fruit to feed yourself, your family, and have extra, then by all means leave some uncovered for the birds and other species. But I only have 3 bushes, so that's not enough for one person. Never mind to share with the birds. So I cover mine until I can get more and have a more of an orchard. Then I'll do that. So it's to each their own. If you have enough food to share, then share. If you don't, you're gonna have to protect it from the birds and the bugs because they eat more than you do. They never leave that for you. Good morning, Flanter. Good morning, Juicing with Jay. Um, so that's what we're working on right now. So just watering the soil, not over watering, and also having soil that can hold the moisture. Because if it's not going to hold the moisture, you're giving yourself more work. For those of us who do container gardening, if you're in the ground, the roots can run deep and they can reach for the water themselves. And some of the plants that are in the in-ground part on the lower level, um, I don't know what's going on. The soil is very compact and compressed and very tough. So I probably need to re-amend that soil. But at the same time, the lemon thyme and the thyme is doing very well there. The 3 tomatoes that made it from the pink ponderosa are actually finally um, growing, and I saw some flowers on it. And the one lone okra is not really growing. Is not really growing. It's struggling. So I'm not gonna plant the new okra over there, that the red okra that's finally germinating. I'm gonna plant them somewhere else and see if the other ones, the new ones, do better. That means it was a location. So maybe that soil I need to get it tilled up a bit and add more chicken manure and leaf mulch and just kind of get it more amended. It's very clay-like. Oh, I'm missing the clay. So I completely dug up one of my peach trees. 5 years, no fruit, had to go. Demo, did you fertilize? Juicy when Jake's asking if he fertilized it. I had a peach tree, didn't last a year. I returned it back to Costco, and I haven't found a peach tree yet at Costco again. I might have to order it from the nursery. And I think they want to be in the ground, obviously, but I need something that's going to be container compliant so that we can plant it in the ground when we have a piece of land to plant it in. I don't want to put nothing in the ground now, so I need something that can be container happy for a few years until we find a place to plant it in. And that's what's going on over here. Of you have enough to last you and your family for a year. Let the animals have some, but the family is yeah, exactly. The family is your first priority. Some people want to act like I'm gonna go get the vehicle. Okay. Let me just perk it. Okay. So people want to act like, oh, you're not being nice, especially when I was watching the video from Instagram from growing up the blocks. People were like, oh, why would you cover it up? He planted those berry bushes there. They weren't there before, so the birds are not entitled to have their share of what he planted on his own property. Like that's a bit ridiculous. I don't know why people. Okay. Okay. I don't know why people act like, and then these same people who talk and don't plant nothing. They don't plant. Uh-oh. They don't plant anything, but they got a lot to say. But let me go back to the chat. Adding unsulfured blackstrap molasses to your waterings also provides nutrients to your plants. I know that, and I've never bought no molasses. The only one that I have is the one I got from St. Lucia, and that I use for myself. I should probably buy some molasses because these things are actually cheap and affordable. My neighbor had the same problem. I gave him some Jobs or Jobies. I had the same fertilizer sticks. It took off. Yeah, I use those sticks actually. And Demo says I wasted too much time with it. Plus had a bad case of Japanese beetles. Too much work with no reward. So she had to go. Got rid of her. Those beetles ain't no joke, guys. Does anybody have any information about these beetles? Because these invasive bugs are causing a problem. Not the natural bugs in our area that we're accustomed to dealing with. These new bugs that came off of these cargo ships and stuff like that and have infiltrated the ecosystem and are causing a huge problem. It's very concerning. I don't know what's happened. I'm trying to change the temperature. The AC is actually too cold. Go figure. Okay, I'll turn it down. It's a problem. But those fertilizer sticks are the truth. You put them in, like I should probably put them in actually before I forget this weekend because I haven't fertilized my apple or pear tree and it is fruiting. It's fruited, but I probably should give it a little extra to kind of help it through because that's a problem. When you keep trees in containers, it can't go and look for the food itself. So you have to give it something. And Jobs are organic from what they say. I'm not swearing for it, but that's the best that you can do. That's the best you can do. It's kind of hard to be mixing our own fertilizers, doing all this stuff. And that's probably the goal, to be self-sufficient in everything. But right now we're buying stuff and nothing wrong with that. I know people are into the jadam and I've been reading up on that as well and using those techniques to feed your plants and to get rid of bug pressure and to, all the things that it's talking about. But not everybody has the time to do all those things now. You're barely having enough time to come home, make dinner, and just live your life. You're just working so many hours a week. People have to realize that we're living a real life. Oh, Tina spoke about the Japanese beetles not too long ago. Yeah, we need to have. I need to do some more research. There's some bugs that are just invasive. The squirrels and the birds are trying to take over. The snails are. There's some of it is going back to the fundamentals. Some of the fundamentals are obvious. Keep your lawn mowed and low, trim around the containers and keep the grass and the weeds down. spacing out your plants appropriately, pruning any excess limbs so that you don't have so much, the humidity and stuff, the airflow. Some of it is watering and not watering the plant, but watering the soil, not letting water splash onto your plants. And which always never made no sense because, like, when it rains, you're splashing the plant. So how does that work? But rainwater is not tap water. So that's probably the linchpin. Watering with tap water and watering above is not helping the plant. It's actually deteriorating the plant and maybe burning the leaves, or taking away nutrients in the foliar process of the leaves because of the chlorine and the fluoride. So I have a filter on my hose, but I always prefer to use the rainwater. And I know somebody mentioned, I was watching a video on Instagram. um, he drinks rainwater. This man drinks rainwater, but he does not drink any water that's run off of a roof or anything like that. He wants it just to fall from the sky into this particular bucket, and that's what he uses to filter. And he's been drinking rainwater. He doesn't drink bottled water. He doesn't drink the tap water. He only catches it from the sky and uses that. I found that very interesting. I don't know, something about this one. Because I do catch rainwater off of roofs, stuff like that, but he wasn't even into that. He wasn't into that. So I think I might try that. Good morning, LP. Maybe not to drink, but just having a place I can catch rainwater that's not hitting a roof. It's just falling directly from the sky. Now I have taken snow, fresh, clean snow, and put in a bucket and use that to water indoor. And I'm going to do that again this year. I think that water was much better. It's it has the what we don't realize, and I don't even know all the answers, but I know that, like, the water that comes from the sky has been electrified. There's a charge in the water, and we think that it's not just water, as well as there's minerals even in the rainwater, because it's going through the cycle. We learned that in, like, what, grade 5, condensation, evaporation, and the whole circle. Um, Tap water is not your friend. It's not your friend. So please put a filter on your tap. If you're watering with the hose, you can buy those filters for the RV trucks to at least take out the chlorine and the fluoride at the bare minimum. That's what you need to be doing, because if you're not doing that, your plants and the soil microbes are not getting what it needs. Good morning, Miss Dee's garden. They're not getting what it needs, and you're actually working against yourself. So those of you who have only rainwater, that's great. Those of you who have to use a bit of both, put a filter on your hose. Your indoor plants, let the water sit and evaporate at the very least, or capture the rainwater and, bring it inside in 1 gallon jugs. That's what I do. And I use that. You can use distilled water for your hydroponics, which I do use, but I have been using the rainwater in the hydroponics and the filtered water from the hose, and I haven't had an issue so far. So I'll keep observing and seeing if it's a problem, but I'm even trying to cut out paying for water. It's not expensive, but sometimes you don't want to be spending on all this distilled water. You want to find another solution that's more sustainable. Because if I can't get distilled water, what am I going to do? So that's it for me, guys. I'm going to just wrap it up. I will be um, posting that picture so I can get help with the fake. But I think this weekend, who's live? I don't think anyone's live. Saturdays has changed. People's schedule has changed, so it's kind of hard to announce. I don't even know. But I know, I don't even know. Everyone's schedule is, they're kind of on summer hours because everyone's gardening and, like, enjoying their outdoor time and fishing and hunting, and so the schedules aren't really the same. Just keep your eyes open. Oh, Georgia Peach Nut. Okay, I'll check her out. I like her. Um, be Let's start to do some more research in the community, and for sure the Japanese beetles. I know people catch them in those bags like we use for flies. I emptied the fly trap last week. It was so disgusting. I was horrified. I should have fed it to the chickens, but I was just so disgusted. I poured bleach and hot water on them in the back of the field there and killed them. It was so gross to look at. But let's be let's be informed about these insects. Those of you who have livestock can feed the beetles to the chicken, so that's good for us. But we don't want them taking over. There's some invasive bugs that are hard to get rid of. They're hard to kill, and they burrow into the soil. So you have to be careful, because you're going to have the problem every year if you don't know how to deal with them and at the source of the problem. So have a blessed day, everybody. Be blessed, and we'll see you probably in the week on a pop-up. Stay safe, be kind to yourself, and be kind to others. All right? Take care.